Shall we begin?
Hey, Nords. Hey, can we stop this for a second?
Yeah.
Do you, of course, Paul Charchian, remember that Friday football feast, the Lakeville South Band?
I do.
Infiltrated to a certain extent, but joined and amplified and was kind enough to be at the Friday football feast, unbeknownst to us.
Yes.
And it's like, all right, well, what's going on here? And the director of music, the director of the band or whatever said, well, we've been working on Street Beater, the Sanford and Son theme, and they really want to play it for you. And that was the origin of week after week after week after week that year.
Wasn't that wild?
High school bands were showing up to the Friday football feast with PA and Charch and playing Quincy Jones' Street Beater, otherwise known as the Sanford and Son theme. And this was the OG of all OGs. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2000 whatever Lakeville South Band, opening 9 to noon. Band members go crazy.
Those kids are out of college now, Paul.
The attention to detail with the musicality is impressive. Let's feast. Yes. We had button-sticking terrorism on a Friday for profit, pontificating for profit Monday through Friday at FM 100.3 KFAN. PA and Charch, Nordo by our side, and here they are.
For a minute, I thought I had missed my cue. Like, am I supposed to be talking right now?
Charchy, stop that, honey. We've talked about that.
Was good than it had meaning. We danced without a care.
All right.
There I met you.
Greasing the wheels of a noisy bad dream for profit. This is 9 to noon, and the Friday football.
Give me the music that they used to play.
Yeah, probably wrong.
Cafe. Give me the music that they used to play.
Hello, you're on the air.
La 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 la. Soulful holiday.
Thank you, Julius. And get well soon. A soulful holiday each and every Friday, courtesy of the fan, known as the Friday Football Feast, PA and Charch. What did you think of Tiger Woods' start to the Masters? Some would call it a fast start, given he was a fat minus to not make the cut. I think it's pretty cool, and good morning.
Well, it's good for golf anytime Tiger Woods is relevant, whether we like it or not. He's a lightning rod figure, and mostly people love to root for him at this stage of his career.
Yeah.
He's gone completely around the bend where he was reviled 12 years ago. Now people want to see him have a meaningful twilight of his PGA career. Physically watching Tiger Woods, Paul, he's hard to even recognize.
Yeah, how does one explain? Yeah, it's different, but it's the same. It's an oxymoron.
I had to do a double take. Like, yeah, that's Tiger.
Yeah.
He's significantly heavier because he was during his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was ripped. This is back when the old guard were still out there with the big fat guts, right? When Tiger came onto the scene, we were still at those 70s era golfers.
Yeah.
The Fuzzy Zellers of the world.
Fuzzy's like, damn, I got to start doing some push-ups.
The Walrus. I mean, there were, Craig Stadler. There were big men lumbering down the courses, and then Tiger shows up, and it was like, oh, geez, I gotta get into shape. And everybody was all ripped, and for the most part, they still are now, but not Tiger.
Right.
Tiger is not ripped anymore at all. He's a little paunchy. He's heavier in the face. He's obviously aged, like we all have.
Still got those big-ass thick legs, though.
And by the way, he can still play a little golf. Now he's 1 over at the moment. His first round got his first round got postponed till tomorrow because they had a late start and blah blah blah. But the point being, came back on the course. He's 1 over for the tournament right now. He has not yet started his second round because he had to finish the first. So his second round will be at the end of the day. He's T36 right now. As of this morning, Bryson DeChambeau is your leader at 7 under.
Now, how badly is whomever carries the Masters on Sunday? Is it CBS? Well, let's say CBS.
CBS.
How badly is whomever carries the Masters on Sunday hoping he goes lights out today and lights out tomorrow, and the old red shirt and black pants have meaning on Sunday?
God. It'd be fun, wouldn't it?
What's meaning on Sunday? Within 7 would be a
big stretch, right?
Yeah.
How about 5?
Yeah.
Can I give you 5 to make it meaningful?
Yeah. I mean, CBS, just think about it. Caitlin Clark and Tiger Woods in the same week. I mean, drawing in the casuals via the storylines, I think would be good for many involved. Who's Danny Parkins and what's the 1003?
Danny Parkins is a longtime acquaintance of mine. He was originally from Chicago, got a radio job with Henry Lake on 610 in Kansas City. So spent time around the Royals and the Chiefs and Kansas City sports for a number of years. Then when one of my other good friends in Chicago radio, Dan McNeil, got let go, he got hired into Dan's spot in Chicago radio, so now he got to go back to the town he grew up in and got to talk about the sports that he really cared about, Cubs, White Sox, Chicago sports. And Danny Parkins, he's a great radio personality, and he's written a kind of a brilliant idea for a sports-related book. It's about D3, Division III athletes, coaches who have made it to the bigs.
Yep.
In the NBA in particular.
Like Chris Finch.
Who was interviewed for this book. So we're going to talk to Danny, 10 o'clock, about some of the D3 stories that he unearthed and how did people who went to tiny itty-bitty schools end up having massively important NBA careers.
Right. That's Danny Parkins at 10:03, and the book does seem fascinating. Parkins and Spiegel is the radio show, 670 The Score out of Chicago, and the book is called Pipeline to the Pros, and I believe the release date is next Tuesday. But we will find that out from Mr. Parkins at about 10:03. It's a celebration of all that is D3 at 10:03. Chad Greenway's around the corner. Why are you tricking yourself so doggedly into believing the Minnesota Vikings will not be able to trade up to 3, like let's say 3 or 4?
3's dead. The Vikings are moving into the top 3.
I wouldn't go that far.
Because the Bears, Commanders, and the Patriots have no reason to help us and every reason to keep the pick. To the point that the cost we would have to give up to make that move should make Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Oh, that's brilliant. I got to remember that. So if you're the Bears, Commanders, Patriots, you take your quarterback and then you just build around the quarterback.
Right.
You don't have to, and if you're worried that the kid isn't ready to start yet, fine.
Yeah.
Keep him on the bench, but go get your quarterback when you're at the top of the draft.
But what if
all of those teams think they're not going to be in sniffing range of the top 3 picks again for a long time? They don't want to risk being where the Vikings are next year, sitting at 11 and hoping they can somehow get a quarterback. You go get your quarterback when you can. 1 through 3 are dead. That is not realistic. Viking fans think the league's got some obligation to make their mock drafts work out. Make it work out so the Vikings will be aided by this. Because our fan base is, I believe, delusional on this point.
Of course.
Pick 4 is realistic to some degree. Arizona has a ton of needs and presumably has their quarterback of the future in Kyler Murray.
Can I throw an aside in that I think is pertinent per the analysis?
Please.
What if Elliot Wolf, who runs the New England Patriots, what if he likes Michael Penix Jr. every bit as much as he does who he believes will be at 3?
Drake May or whoever.
Who he believes will be at 3. And what if he believes he can angle his way to Michael Penix Jr. at 11?
Which he could.
Well, then that means the 3 would be available.
Box.
Only if you do believe that Michael Penix, and I don't think it's even close between him and Drake May, but if their evaluation is that, then yes, I think that would be a realistic scenario.
Yeah.
I don't think almost anybody believes that to be true, but some might. I certainly don't.
Takes one.
I'm worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's got to be that
Worried
one.
about what?
I'm worried about Michael Penix.
Oh.
We highlighted this a little bit with Greg Cosell last week.
So is the NFL because they're only going to bring 15 players to the Detroit draft to try to avoid the A-Rod sitting in there forever terrorism or whomever was most recent.
Penix isn't on the list.
Penix Jr. and Bo Nix did not get invited. So to the which means the NFL does not believe, or the intel, it's either intel or a metaphorical roll of the dice that they don't believe Penix Jr. and or Nix will be drafted in the top 20. Now, what's also interesting with the invitation related stuff is J.J. McCarthy was invited to the NFL draft in Detroit 13 days from today, has not responded.
Really? He hasn't decided if he's going to go?
I always love that one.
NFL rescinded invite.
I always love that one.
Now you can't go. And
Really?
It's in
That
Michigan.
happened?
It's in Michigan.
Wow.
Hey.
I remember when Joe Thomas everybody thought Joe Thomas was going to be the first player taken in whatever draft that was, I don't know, 2009 or something. And Thomas is like, not only am I not going to be at the draft, I'm not going to watch the draft. I'm going to be fishing, and I'm not bringing my phone with me.
Do you remember the defensive end for I believe it was the Cincinnati Bengals? The Vikings were courting a defensive end, Aaron Smith or something like that. It's many, many years ago. And they were courting a defensive end from the Cincinnati Bengals. And Aaron Smith, it was a longtime Pittsburgh Steeler defensive end, but for the purpose of the conversation, I'm not remembering the name, but I remember he came here and had a visit, and they did the Manny's bit, and they sit down, and here's the facility, and it's Winter Park, and we apologize for the antiquated nature of it. By the way, there's Bud Grant. By the way, there's where Fran Tarkenton used to sit, and they did all that and everything, and he seemed to be quite infatuated with the situation, and I believe they felt they had him signed.
Yeah.
Until his next free agent visit was with the San Francisco 49ers. And what they did is instead of taking him to Al Scoma's, an elite seafood place at Fisherman's Wharf, they chartered a helicopter and flew him all around the Bay Area. Hey, let's go up.
No, you know who this was?
Who was it?
TJ Hushmanzada.
It wasn't Hushmanzada.
Are you sure?
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it was him.
It was a defensive end before the Hushmanzada related stuff. Right. But they flew him around the entire Bay Area. He got bit by the beauty.
Yeah.
And then when he thought it was done, they're like, well, no, we're not done. We're going to chopper. We're going to helicopter our way another hour north so you can see the Sierra Nevadas.
I always love that one.
And Lake Tahoe. And that's South Lake Tahoe and that's North Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Do you like to ski? Yeah, my family loves skiing. Well, that's what you mostly do at North Lake Tahoe. But South Lake Tahoe, you see that run right there with all that snow? That's called Heavenly. And next to it is Caesar's Tahoe and Harris Tahoe. And I mean, it was like Aaron was like, hey, and we lost him.
Yeah, we took him to Ely.
So, I mean, it's whether it's free agency or the draft, circumventing other teams and aligning your route of attack with the individual that may fly in the face of like everything you just said about the top 3 or what anybody thinks absolutely makes sense. When they hit the finish line, you never know whose nose is going to be down first until they're in the winner's circle and we're all smiling for the camera and cashing bets.
I always love that one.
This is 9 to noon. Chad Greenway of Grey Duck Vodka and Grey Duck Spirits is around the corner, and we will be football feasting with you up until noon. It's PA Charch on FM 100.3 KFAN. TimberTech.com. Thank you for the What's on Deck set list. Check out TimberTech.com if you are in the market for a new deck. Thank you for listening. It's the Friday Football Feast on the Fan. As the linebacker and the fantasy freak kibitz,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question that I am going to present for the cast, or perhaps I'm not. But I immediately thought of you when, let's just say, this thought came to me. That's the best way to put it. And it happened yesterday. Would you prefer if the Minnesota Vikings trade up for a quarterback?
Right.
All right. And we happen to believe there's more probability to that than the co-host. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's down to 1-2-3%. So even if we're at 9% on 9 to noon, then we believe there's more of a chance. Amen?
Absolutely. I'm a coin flip guy right now.
Yeah.
Leaning the over.
Yeah. And I'm coin flippish guy. Radio show facility yesterday, I'm on the heavy side of the coin flip.
Ooh.
It's like in the business, when this goes legal, the way it would be put is the over is it's shaded over.
Yeah, we're using weighted dice right now.
Thank you. So it's not 110 either way. I'd make it, if it's a coin flip, it's like minus 150 on the over for the at least the thought process. Which would you prefer if a trade up indeed is in the cards? Night of the draft around 6:30 p.m. or next Thursday, a week before the draft?
Oh my gosh!
Why are you laughing?
Well, I'm laughing.
I almost didn't want to bring it up because I know you're going to think about it all weekend.
Next Thursday. I mean, the sooner that we get finality to that.
Yeah, that was my answer. Excuse me. That's what I thought too.
And we're going to go through it today, and we're loving it, and it's quarterbacks and all of that, and I'm going to get after Charch during Vikes Bites about having a left-handed quarterback bias as it pertains to Michael Penix. Mm-hmm. But we need a domino to fall, man. I mean,
coaches don't like having left-handed quarterbacks, as I've learned of late.
Well, not only have I learned that, but I found an article from a few months that kind of details it. Mm-hmm. I got Steve Young and the Scott Mitchells of the world, and Tua till you're satisfied.
Whatever it is.
That's a real thing. But back to the end of it, I want a domino to fall, man. I mean, and so if they trade up next Thursday, in some ways that peels away just a hair of drama from Thursday night.
It's a 9 to noon. It's 9 to boon. It's a boon.
But we get to settle into, is it May? Is it McCarthy?
Yeah.
Because they're not trading up for Jared Verse.
Right.
So now that really right. dials in the conversation. Mm-hmm. So I'd pick next Thursday. If they're going to make a trade, make it pre-draft. Mm-hmm. Give us a couple of days to wheel this thing and work it into a froth, into a fervor.
Yeah,
and it'd be a blast if that happens.
Here's the scenario. Here's the hypothetical, Mr. Birchie. Birchie, good morning, Chad Greenway.
And good morning. How are we?
Pretty well. Grey Duck Vodka, Grey Duck Spirits, Chad Greenway, 5-2 Radio, and here we are. Which would you prefer if a trade indeed was in the cards for the Vikings moving up from 11 to let's say 3 or 4? Night of the draft around 6:30 or next Thursday?
Oh my God.
Which would you prefer? And why?
Well, because the team's got 2 picks, I kind of think it'd be more fun to do the move in advance. Mm-hmm. So then at the draft party, that gives us a week to talk about which quarterback could fall. Is it going to be Drake May? Is it going to be J.J. McCarthy? And then at the draft party, we still get to talk about pick 23.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Any news is good news right now because it's just like the doldrums of, like you said, posturing and talking and just like guessing and wondering. So like
subterfuge.
Any news ahead of, day of or day before would be excellent because it gives you juicy talkers. So
and last time I will bring this up this week, and it's you played for the Minnesota Vikings. Well, you were drafted by Rick Spielman or Fran Foley?
Fran Foley,
right?
Yes, sir.
That was quite the
One of the few.
Yeah,
quite the elongated run he had as general manager for the Minnesota Vikings. I met him one day and he was fired 3 days later. It was weird.
People forget about that whole situation. Like, I don't know when he was hired. I have to look back at the day he was hired, the day he was fired. He was here for like a month. Is wild.
Yeah, right.
Where do you think he is now? Just if you were to guess
question.
what ended up with
selling
Foley?
Britannicas.
But why would you say that? Why would you run the guy down? I mean, you're sitting there talking about him being fired. Nobody even knows who he is.
He might be in town.
It's like the intel was he was too abrasive.
I thought it was he lied on the resume.
Oh, was that what it was?
That's what I think.
He lied on the resume.
Yeah,
right.
that was the case.
That was the bit.
If your resume is light and you're abrasive, how did you get hired in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean,
but you know what?
Crazy.
That stuff happens
Look
all
at you
the
now,
time.
Paul. You've been here for so long. You got hired.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm quite abrasive and very light. I was very light on the resume when I got hired.
After the Vikings, Fran Foley spent time as a development director at Baptist Health Foundation.
Wow. Are you sure that's the right Fran Foley?
And then in 2010, he joined the Maryland Terrapins football team as the director of operations.
Wow.
That's a pretty good gig.
Wow.
It's
a fall from NFL GM. It's a good gig though.
Then he got fired in 2015.
Abrasive light resume.
No known interactions in the world of sports or anything else. We have updates since 2015.
Maybe he went to Thailand with Cliff Kingsbury.
Well, he probably retired.
Only Fran stayed.
Maybe he's on LinkedIn.
I'd assume he retired, right? Because of age.
Well, he's 63 now, so that means he stopped working at 53.
Yeah.
No, that's not usually retirement age, and I don't know if he made enough money to do that. Not my business, but maybe.
Go ahead, Nords.
Now, via the text line, I'll be, I don't prefer being called an effing idiot, but that's fine. It's all good. The Rube makes a fair point. The idea that if you make that trade, let's say you trade up to 4 a week before the draft, you're giving the anti-Vike and anybody else the opportunity almost a full week to potentially jump to 3.
Excellent.
So you have to weigh those implications as well.
For sure.
As you get into that mix.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Correct. But then that would be the analysis there would be that you think they're 50-50-ish, the two that are going to be there, and like you'd be completely happy with either one you got. So therefore, go ahead, give up, 8 first-round picks to jump ahead of somebody. We're cool being in this spot, and we're cool with who we're going to get. I'm just wondering, like, if it happened before the draft, like, what would it be like in the 9 to noon stable? I mean,
fun, exciting.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do the feast next Friday at Buffalo Wild Wing Savage with Charch. Because he'd vomit. Well, because you're negative on the Vikings trading.
That is not true.
Just 1 second. Let me lay this out, and then you can opine. I'm looking at it as a catch 44. Okay, you're doubling down on the catch 22. Not only are you negative on the Minnesota Vikings trading up to 4 or 3, you're not necessarily a fan of Sam Darnold.
I always love that.
No, I'm not.
It's like
I agree with those.
Those things are not right. They're not mutually exclusive.
I guess here comes the Wildcat offense. That's why Aaron Jones signed. He wants to be a Wildcat back.
Let's go.
Let's gone with that single wing.
Well, the
running back 2010 though.
The funnier part about it is that he's not he's out on the trade up, but then he's also so down on Penix, that would be the guy that the team ends up settling for.
Unbelievable.
If they don't trade up.
And all of a sudden, a person whose life and career has been predicated on offensive talent has become an elite defensive rookie film evaluator.
I always love that.
But what if he's right?
What? With what?
Charch, his opinion.
Hasn't happened yet.
All the
Which
things.
one? We've already had 9, and he started yelling.
But we've had a lot of opinions been thrown around. But the idea, like we talked about the left-handed quarterback, right? We talked about what Penix did in college, and it's one of those situations. If you talk to a receiver who played the game, with right-handed quarterbacks, they don't like catching the ball from a left hand. It spins the opposite direction.
Oh, wow.
Messes with the eyes. It's a different look. And there's just something about it. Now, again, like your offense has to, in a lot of cases, flip because what's the strong side of the field now for the quarterback compared to the other? Yeah. Your offensive line is now different because the backs turn different directions. Now the left tackle's the right, the right's the left.
O'Neal gets paid like a left tackle.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Jeez.
So you got to think about
the dominoes.
Those things that, positionally, are you set up to bring something like that in?
I remember the initial concerns, complaints, and angst that was generated by the reverse ball spin of the left-handed quarterback. And I believe it was hindering the careers of John Taylor and Jerry Rice.
I always love that.
And they just think what
really
they could have been.
Yeah.
What they could have been if Montana just stayed longer and not gone to Kansas City.
There's always anomalies.
Yeah, I know.
There always is.
Yeah.
You Mike Vick, there's a couple of them out there, but let's look at the percentage.
Don't let me Google Boomer Esiason's receivers.
How about the percentage of left-handers that exist in the breakdown? And then how many starting quarterbacks by percentage there are compared to rights? Maybe,
what is the left hand? What's the left hand? What do you think the left-hand righty breakdown is across the entire population?
Let's say 10%.
I think it's about 10%.
10%. It's a guess.
And there's only one guy that threw a pass in the NFL last year that's left-handed.
Oh, wow.
And that's Tua.
Oh, Tua. Wow.
I think he's the only left-hander that threw a pass last year.
Right.
That sounds about right.
Sounds like less than 10% to
I know.
me.
Tyreek Hill just couldn't get past it. Horrible season. I mean, it looked like a knuckleball coming out of the hand of Phil Niekro. I didn't know what to do. Who's my quarterback, Tim Wakefield? This is crazy.
If your kid can throw left-handed, you got a lefty kid and
Baseball.
he can throw
baseball.
You don't even have to be that good, right? And here's a 15-year career lefty, with your 5.2
Fastball,
ERA.
off-speed curveball. Let's go.
It.
We're in.
Yes. That's all you got to do.
I love
My
that.
buddy Paul Fern was so desperate to have a lefty kid that when the kid got to be about toddler age, he would tape down the right arm and play ball with him for hours. And just start working.
He's an
It
accountant.
does not work.
I wonder if writing left-handed with the super special number 2 pencil. So now we're in middle school, we're in high school.
Ticonderoga, number 2.
So, I mean...
I was more of an Eberhard Faber person myself.
Perfect. Whatever Eberhard Faber, Ticonderoga, Adirondacks you have. I just wonder the methodology of where you have to sit in a classroom if you're looking to cheat off somebody else's answers.
I always love that one.
Generally, as a right-handed writer, you just think about how you angle your head.
I think you want to be
that
left
sneak
side,
peek.
looking into the right.
Think so?
I think because you want
move
to cover
the desk back a little bit so you can see the proper bubble.
Nah, I think right side. I don't know. I think you actually want to be sitting middle, looking out, so the teacher's desk's in the middle.
Yeah.
The lefties always had all the ink and stuff all over their sleeves,
Yeah.
right? Because you write left to right, and then you're dragging your sleeve across
Just
the
gross.
page.
Well, it's the pinky side palm.
Yeah.
I write left-handed. Oh yeah, and you get your hands dirty.
Can you throw a football?
It's
Why?
really an impediment.
Why? So this is serious about ink on shirts and hands getting dirty?
Absolutely.
It was never a sleeve issue, but the base of your palm it just drags across a pencil or ink. Yeah.
Yep. And I had
Really set me back.
I write.
It's why you're here now.
I write with my right hand, and the remnants of some ink still are on a couple of my fingers. It had nothing to do with writing. I just chewed a pen.
I always love that one.
It's very
It
possible.
just started dripping on me.
well, it's better than the headphone cord that I've seen.
Holy cow!
I'm so glad those days are gone, or largely gone.
Rear view mirror. PA and Charch, Friday football feast. Here's Chad Greenway, Grey Duck Vodka, Grey Duck Spirits. What did the girls think of the NCAA women's title game?
Well, first of all, great game. I mean, obviously, look at the folks, the viewership. I mean, 18 plus million. It was incredible. Obviously, Mom and I are Hawkeye alums, so we were going for the Hawks, and I thought it was a great game.
What about the girls? All right, 3-2.
Girls are just a lot of Hawkeye fans in there. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oldest is kind of in the middle now
I'm
because
just
it's
talking
trying
about
to decide.
watching basketball at that level with somebody pulling up from 38 feet.
It's
are you kidding me with that 38-foot shot she hit?
It doesn't make any sense to those who are watching it. You become numb to how often she's doing it and how good it is. It's like watching Steph Curry be just incredibly gifted at what he's doing and literally changing the game. And she's done that from that perspective of pulling up from that deep pretty consistently hitting shots. And the fact that you have to guard her at 35 feet is incredible. And you don't realize that until you go in a basketball court and look at that shot and realize what she's doing consistently. I think just to see where the women's game and how she helped bring it there in the last few years to another level, it's been rising, been driving forward, but what she's done and a lot of these other great players have done these last few years have just put it on another planet, and it's changed the game. So with a dad of 4 girls that love sports, love hoops, they're primed to move into the next level at some point, hopefully, and partake in that fun.
So will the viewers follow? Will the buzz continue unabated when Caitlin Clark is playing this summer for the Indiana Fever?
I say absolutely.
Well, you can already see with how they're, Las Vegas Aces, they're moving the venue when the Fever come to town because they have to need a bigger venue. I think they're putting the Fever on TV, right? The majority of the games because they understand. It looks like they're trying to take advantages from a business standpoint, which at the end of the day is going to move the needle.
But like Indiana Fever, Las Vegas Aces, ESPN, Saturday at 7:00, whatever.
Yep.
That ain't 10, 14, 16 million. But for the WNBA,
exactly.
You cross whatever barrier,
you cross
viewership wise, and you're heading the right way.
Yeah, to me, when you listen to some of the conversations of the current WNBA players, you get a sense of a little bit of angst and jealousy or
bitterness.
Sort of bitterness about we've been here, we've been doing this. Diana Taurasi, there's several examples on
she's
TV.
the A topic,
but the reality is, if you're them, you want her more than anybody because all ships rise in a rising tide. Like, am I going to get mad that linebacker's going to get paid more than me? No, because that means that my salary is going to go up eventually because he's driving a new market. If she can come in and drive a new market, all ships rise. The league's going to get more attention, more eyes, more streams, more. Or what do you mean? That's just reality.
Yeah, but a lot of the grousing are for people who are from women who are out of the league now. Yeah. They're not going to get help. They're not getting help by this.
Not as much as I've seen. I'm talking about the folks that were on. Sue Bird is out, right? So she's now done. But there were several current players that are talking about how she's going to have a welcome to the WNBA moment and all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, who doesn't? First of all, everybody goes through that, no matter how good you are.
Stuff.
Yeah. That's everyday stuff. But I'm talking about like the next level stuff. If the complaint is we're not getting paid enough or paid to the level we should be. Mm-hmm. When a player like this comes in and starts filling stands and putting you on TV and ratings get higher, there's several beyond Caitlin. Cameron Brink coming into the league. There's a bunch of them coming in that are really good. It's like that's going to move the needle, and that should help everybody.
Right. I think the majority, to Charch's point about people out of the league, it kind of feels like there's a former Viking who did quite well as a member of the Vikings, and every time I've heard him speak. And love the guy. He taught. There's a resentment of the contracts they're getting today. The how much money they're getting, and that's kind of how I felt when I heard whether it was Lynette Woodard who held the record before, or Cheryl Swoops, etc. Cheryl Swoops was just blatantly making things up. It felt like when she was talking about Caitlin Clark.
That's true.
But it's kind of like, well, in my day, I had to struggle just to get to the league. And it was friends and family night every night. Now she's filling out field houses across, and she's got multi-million-dollar national ad. I felt it was more like back in my day, we still had to have another job to sustain. That's how I looked at a lot of that bit.
I think I know the ex-Viking you're talking about, and I think it's hard to be from an era where you changed the game and you literally put everybody who's making $1 now, including myself, on another trajectory to make the league what it is, to put it on TV. We owe them 1,000% everything we were able to earn and accomplish. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But how do you apologize for doing the same thing that they did? It's just the way that the world goes. It's like if you look at an NFL contract at linebacker now, it's probably double what I was making 6 years ago. I mean, am I going to be upset by that? I mean, it's just progress. It's how the world goes around.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, should they be scooping some of the chips somehow? I'm not sure. It's just not how the business works. So, I mean, you just have to move on and try to, again, take advantage of it while you're in it to build a business or to do something else. It's not fair.
I read something from an old school NBA player. I don't know when it was, within the last X amount of years. And it was down this road where it's like, it's back in the Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and Bob Cousy and Oscar Robertson days. We shaped everything and look at the money and stuff like that now. What my man failed to leave out is in 1978, 79, 80, that the NBA was in peril. Man, the games were on at 11 in the evening, nationally televised like Friday night games. They were on super late. It wasn't readily available.
They weren't live? They were like tape delaying the Knicks until 11 at night?
Some of them were. But the NBA had such an emerging gambling and drug problem in the late 70s. That sucker, I'm not saying contraction, it was rudderless.
Yep.
And then here comes Irvin Magic Johnson. Here comes Larry Bird.
Yeah. Yep.
That rivalry led to the explosion of the NBA.
Yep.
And then after that, you got Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan and Dr. J. And, and Akeem Olajuwon. So
you're saying individuals
I'm saying the
coming
one
in that move the needle can impact a full league.
Big time.
Which is what we're kind of talking about.
That is what we're talking about.
Indiana Fever, I heard this yesterday. Indiana Fever games, 38 of the 40 are sold out for next season.
Well, how you know they're going to pick Caitlin Clark, though?
Come on. Come on.
Okay, well, they're not.
Because they like money.
You put Charch in charge because they're giving up too many picks and she doesn't play defense.
Right. Well,
and she shoots with her left hand sometimes.
If David Kahn is their general manager,
okay,
it's up in the air.
Careful.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Steph Curry's not in the draft.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll get somebody from UConn who likes Skittles like Johnny Flynn and has a beautiful
Syracuse?
smile.
Oh, Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Flynn is Syracuse.
Right. But there, she'll bank a ton of endorsements, and I think she made more than $5 million, five-ish, whatever, over X amount of years. Well, when this all was a thing, and she took off. But there are either current or old school NBA players who are like, it's how it worked with her, and she became the nation. She captured the imagination of the nation.
Yep.
The nation casuals, like I watched 5 NCAA women's basketball games up to the title. I just, it's not that I don't like the sport. It just never really fit in that way. Oh, it was appointment television for my household. Norda was watching a lot of it too. So we're the casuals. But that there are X amount of ladies out there who are kind of like, let me get this straight. I made like $65,000. I was a star in the league. I made like $65,000 from Team Du Jour. And I had to go to Prague in the off season to play for $100,000.
It's beautiful though.
And 3/4 of the time, I wasn't even sure the checks were going to clear.
Yeah.
And then we had to fly on these crap airplanes.
Yep.
It was like one wing's dangling. And then she's up here scooping $3 million one year, 2 whatever the other year. And it's not the world has laid out the red carpet for Caitlin Clark, ladies. It's Caitlin Clark has earned a spot to walk on that red carpet.
Yeah, and the timing of just the society. The NIL just came about how many years ago?
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago. Right when she came into college, the NIL was coming in and shifting the landscape, however many years that's been. I don't remember, but it's about timing. It's about when it's luck. At the end of the day, she's got a mix of incredible talent and skill.
Yeah.
She's able to do it in the highest pressure moments. She has a coach that's allowed her to take crazy shots.
You got to be on a
shots.
good team.
You got to have teammates around you that get you in that position that make shots when you kick it. You have all these factors that come together, and it's just how the world works.
Yeah.
And every college athlete previous to Caitlin Clark or any of these athletes that are in there now can have that same gripe to say, but I could have made this when I was in college. I'd have taken an extra $100 in college. I was broke.
Yeah. Some are bitter about it.
Yeah,
that's
you can
human
choose
nature.
You can choose to be bitter, but you should also look back at how many opportunities did I miss because I wasn't willing to do something extra, or go work harder, or go get my degree, or go get a job, or go start a business.
Right.
And you can look at your own life and be like, you can always place the blame somewhere else.
Amen.
You can always take the bull by the horns and say, hey, I'm hot right now.
Right.
Rather than saying, look how cool I am, be like, I'm going to go do something else.
With the voluminous amount of film watching Chad Greenway has done on these rookie quarterbacks coming into the draft, we have been pining to ask him this question for weeks, maybe months. Who is his favorite quarterback that he'd like the Vikings to draft and why? That emerges around the corner on KFAN.
Just listen.
Ooh! So, it's the Friday football feast. Whether it's Grey Duck vodka, Grey Duck spirits, Bomba juice, or whatever, we don't require. We just require your attendance, your friendship, and
My smile.
Your smile has been A+. Ever since I met you, and
the aroma. It's
the aroma
a little
issue.
a little saddlewood
Just coffee,
and
coffee and leather.
why was there never a line of cologne that went Ralph Lauren Polo, Drakkar, and Aroma Shadu? How was there never Aroma? What are you wearing?
That's a missed opportunity.
Aroma Shadu.
Oh my!
But so we don't require much of you, with the
Devin.
exception of the cachet that's tied with your name, hoping it moves the people meter. But anyway, so film watching, like requiring you to be the next Mike Mayock or anybody, that's not realistic. But from what you know, what you feel, whatever gift of discernment you have or have been given, if the Minnesota Vikings left round one with a quarterback not named Caleb Williams, who would you prefer and why?
Can I have Caleb Williams somehow, some way? You look at the top end of the draft and you look at the guys that everybody's talking about. It's hard to poke holes from. I haven't done a deep dive. I haven't watched years of film. But the reality is you look at those guys that have unique abilities that clearly set them apart. The one I like for our current system that I think would match the best would be May out of North Carolina. Mm-hmm. I like him the most. I don't like that he wasn't necessarily a high-level winner at North Carolina.
Man, the team around him, not good.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think drafting a winner, I'm not sure historically, I'm sure there's data on this, but it just feels like drafting a winner from college makes sense. But again, that has a lot to do with recruiting teammates, et cetera. Love the LSU kid. He's just a complete freak athlete and just does some crazy things with the football. I'm not in love with Penix either. I just don't know that his game translates. I don't like the injury. I don't like the age. There's a lot of factors that go into that I'm not excited about. Now, if we had him leaving, I'm also a homer. So if he's in, I'm all in, baby. Let's go. But the reality is I would take May.
I like Drake May a lot more than most people do, it appears. And there are some people that are really down on him. Kurt Warner and Chris Sims notably are having him at like 5 and 6 in their rankings.
Good. We'll fall right to 23. Let's take him.
Sims might be like 6, 7, or 8.
Wow.
It's like he's got him down there.
Way down there. Bad offensive line that he has to overcome all the time. Mm-hmm. Bad receivers who rarely got separation. I like Drake May. I like the arm strength. I like the mobility that you don't expect for him to have, and he can run around.
But he doesn't rely on it where he's going to miss receivers because his head's down.
And he keeps his eyes up and downfield a lot. He had to scramble out of bad plays all the time. Yep. He runs well in those situations. He processes the field. I just don't. Yes, are there some easy throws that he should have made better? Mm-hmm. Yep. But also half the time he's got a defender draped on him in those situations.
I think part of why I like him and why I picked him is because he's maybe the most realistic one we could get without giving up a bunch. So that's kind of why to me it seems like it's a reality that could actually happen. And it's all hope that Sims is right and he's the guy. Because if you want to get a quarterback in one, if it's sitting at the spot you're at, right, is this you got to find the right guy, and sometimes that guy can fall right to you. You never know.
Now, the reason I chuckled and or giggled with the chortle,
he's not left-handed.
When you said eyes up, and it caused me to hearken to the only time I remember Paul Charchian walking into the Vikings locker room, and those were the first 2 words.
I always love that one.
Eyes up.
Eyes up.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All right. Now let me hit you with this before you.
I have a related story for that.
That is so funny.
I don't think I've ever told on air, and maybe I should.
Okay, we're done.
You probably shouldn't. No, because you uttered that same statement when we were on Xerxes at AM 1130 KFAN. And it involved 5 car dealerships.
That is
and
not
you analyzing the negatives of car dealerships.
I've heard
and
this
we
one.
only lost $730,000 in advertising.
That
Yeah, here he is.
And that was 20 years ago.
That
It'd
is
be about
not true.
1.4 million now with Greenway's inflation. Holy cow! All right, let me before you leave, let me ask you this for you too, Charch. Just with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, what are the playoff expectations? Forget, I got to see who they get in the first round. Yeah, that's fair. But I have the belief no matter who they hook in the Western Conference, and that includes Denver, there will be meat grinder games. They now are not the type of team that's just, hey, we're in it and boom, now we're out 4-0.
Yeah.
Just got swept and beat 15 every game. They're not that squad. Doesn't mean, but they could get beat in the first round even with home court advantage. So New Orleans, Sacramento, some other teams are, the potential candidates, but whatever. Just the makeup of the team with the return of Karl Anthony Towns and a 2 or 3 seed. They're not going to get the 1. I mean, Denver Wolves would have to go boom, boom tonight. Atlanta here. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and the Suns here Sunday. They may sit all of them. They may not have anything for which to play. Denver's at San Antonio, I believe sans Wemby, but even they'll still win with Wemby, and then they're at crap Memphis on Sunday. So Denver's going boom, boom. Mm-hmm. We're tied with OKC. If at the end of the equation, the Wolves and Oklahoma City are tied, the Wolves win the tiebreaker. You got to get down to the 4th bit. So that could be a 2 seed, but so they're going to have home court advantage at least for 2 rounds.
Yep.
Let's say for at least 1 or 2 rounds. With the makeup of the team, and I know you watch and I know you follow, and I know you like the NBA. Likewise for Charch, just like what should our expectations be in a week and change when this bad boy starts?
Well, I'm not a suck for luck guy, but this is about matchups in basketball, and I think you want to look at what potential matchup in first round and position yourself by resting players to maybe get there somehow. I think Western Conference Finals. Or bust. Well, I want to go to a Western Conference final game and have it be at home.
Perhaps you know this or have forgotten or missed it because that would be me early in the week, and I knew it for forever, but like the play-in clip.
Yep.
Well, that's next week.
Yep.
So the team's not in the play-in clip. I mean, they're practicing, they're chilling, feet up. Like, that's going to be vital for not only reintegrating Karl Anthony Towns into the mix, but Anthony Edwards getting off his freaking feet.
Yep.
After playing all these minutes he's played, and he and Gobert kind of carrying this thing, so they will get that rest and reorganization piece next week, then to make the run. So you say Western Conference Finals, what you're expecting?
That's what
what you want.
I just the excitement around this team has been building, and everybody's got that same mindset mentality of when's the shoe going to drop, and this team's kept fighting and got some big wins and been played pretty dang good down the stretch. Without Cat, I'm mostly nervous about Cat coming back into the rotation and see how that's going to impact the game, the flow, the roles. Everything's going to go back to how it was, 6 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, however long it's been.
I would take that. They were playing great right when Cat went down.
Yep, but it's, again, a reintegration like you mentioned. I think the minimum for this team based off this year and the expectations that I have is let's make that Western Conference final. Let's win a couple, obviously starts with winning a series, right? I mean, we got to get over the hump, win a series. But I mean, that's you don't want to say it's expected because we haven't done it, but it's got to be the mentality of we want to get to that final. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
We've been the 1 seed for 90% of this season.
Yep.
Western Conference Finals. Now, if you told me the Timberwolves were going to yield to the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals right now, I wouldn't love it because I want this team to go to the championship, but I would go, okay, I can understand that.
Yeah.
With all the equity that they've got and the playoff experience, they're still the reigning champions. I'm like, okay. But man, if we yield to the freaking Clippers, Mavericks, that's
well, Mavericks,
Pelicans.
I spent about 5 minutes on the Mavericks yesterday. I'm waiting for the Wolves and Nuggets the other night. And, we've all seen Luka. We've all seen Kyrie. We've all seen Luka and Kyrie. I hadn't watched them play together in quite some time. It's like it's either Luka's out and Kyrie goes for 40, or Kyrie's out and Luka has the fattest triple-double ever. But playing together with, as I put it yesterday, agenda-free basketball. When I saw, and they've won 12 of 13, 16 of 18, and along the way, they beat Denver. They beat Golden State. They beat Sacramento twice. They've beaten some squads. When I'm watching that thing, it was Dallas at Miami. All right, because this is the time of the year last year, like Jimmy Butler, whether you like him or not, he takes games off in the regular season to get ready for the postseason. And it'll be, bilateral left knee soreness.
General soreness, right?
General soreness. Thank you.
General
Right.
soreness.
That general soreness. But he'll skip games. He regular seasons for show and postseasons for dough. They NBA insiders ripped the bleep out of him last year. Well, then he went out and beat Giannis, the 1 seed.
Yep.
It's like, box. Sit down and do your job.
Yep.
And I'll do mine. So they're trying that again this year. Dallas murdered them. Yep. Luka and Kyrie just ran circles around these old guys. I ain't kidding you.
Yep.
Like Tyler Hero's playing, Bam Adebayo, a couple of former Kentucky Wildcats on top of their games. So when Kyrie fell, he took a hard fall in third, early fourth quarter. Here's Luka sprinting 30 yards, or let's say 30 feet, whatever, to like help him up. And I'm like, and I saw some things in the game where I'm like, there's no agenda. They've hit it because you knew it would hit stride. They're too good and talented for it not to if they don't have agendas
100%.
on who shoots how much and why. Well, that's not the case there with the Mavericks right now. So I think they're becoming more of a Western Conference problem.
16 of 18?
Yeah,
It goes to that.
They're 50. It's a 50-win team too.
I think basketball. I don't know hockey nearly as much, but obviously basketball is a matchup game. When you only have 5-on-5, when it's not, football is it's in individual matchups. Yes, but 11v11, a lot of moving parts. 5-on-5 is about matchups. That first round is going to be critical. Can you get a right matchup? You rest accordingly to give guys an opportunity, but at the same time, we're going to have a rest period for the play-in as well, so you got to be careful of taking off too long.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, how Finch handles it. Let's see. Hey, buckle up, and when we get a home game, cannot wait.
Hey,
to show out.
Buffalo Wild Wings Savage next Friday if you're in town.
Friday football feast. Virginia.
Okay, Friday football.
Virginia.
Well, Virginia will be there the following day, Saturday, and for the rest of your.
I gotta fly with a kid
it's
for
Buffalo
a kid.
Wild Wings Savage in front of a lot of people. Grey Duck vodka, Grey Duck spirits, good for business.
I can't believe I'm missing it.
That's okay.
Unbelievable.
Well, we moved it this year. Anything with Grey Duck we need to know?
Yeah, our Duck Duck beer location. So we have a beer, if you didn't know that, DDB, Duck Duck beer, and the proceeds, 20% of the proceeds of those sales go back to Dinkytown Athletics, Dinkytown Athletes for the U of M NIL, which we just talked about how important that is across this country. So all those locations are now loaded onto our website of where you can go buy Duck Duck beer, support the Gophers NIL, and support local with Grey Duck. So go to our website, greyduckspirits.com, check the locations, and go buy some.
My brother, assumedly, we will see you the day after round 1 of the NFL draft, and that will be right here in the 651 Carpets Plus studios. Thank you. Safe travels.
Thank you.
9 to noon continues after this.